So, there was this guy, Will Crowther. He was a programmer/developer in the 70s, and he and his wife, they were also cavers. You know, those people who like to explore caves? And they were an integral part of mapping the Mammoth Flint Ridge cave system, which in computer terms may not seem like a lot, but in caving, Mammoth Flint Ridge is big. But along came a divorce, and he was looking for a way to connect with his daughters. And to that end, he used his Dungeons & Dragons experience and came up with the idea of creating a virtual cave simulation. Then in 1976, Stanford researcher Don Woods contacted him and asked him for permission to expand his game. He got a yes and sort of Tolkien-esque feelinged it with more treasures and scoring, an actual game-like feeling to it. According to some of the lore I can find, Woods went on vacation, and when he came back, students had found the game, and it had become sort of a sensation. People everywhere were trying to figure it out. Advent, as it was originally named due to the naming limitation conventions of the time, was later retro-renamed Colossal Cave Adventure, and it was a hit. Now, that is a highly condensed version of the birth of microcomputer games. Now, for the problem. And with me, there is always a problem. And in this case, it's that the game was made for a DEC PDP-10 mainframe, a system that was discontinued in the 70s, and honestly, I really do not have an interest in trying to revive it. I do not have the room in my house to dedicate a living room to a single computer's hardware, and the desire to try and emulate it is really not there. Instead, what I've tried to do is find the most pure form of it that I can, and in this case, it seems that this is where Bill Gates comes in. You see, young Bill, or fledgling Microsoft, decided to steal the game from Will and Don, rebrand it, as in expunge their names from the code, and repackage it as Microsoft Adventure. They made a lot of money off of it, and they never shared credit or royalties with either Will or Don. But as history would have it, it is the only surviving example of the original Advent game that I have access to. So, without any more introduction, I'm going to present you with the only option I had, Colossal Cave Adventure rebranded as Microsoft Adventure on the TRS-80 Model 1 Level 2 Basic, this time on a floppy disk. In a weird twist of fate, Microsoft was actually nice and gave us a self-booting floppy. So let me hit reset here. Microsoft's TRS-80 Adventure version 1.1 by Softwin. Which cave image? Hit enter to restart. This is the chance to load a saved game. This has the ability to save 2 separate games. If you wish to save any more than 2, you will have to overwrite one of them. We're going to hit enter. TRS-80 Adventures, copyright 679 by Softwin Company, unauthorized duplication prohibited. Welcome to Adventure. Would you like instructions? Let's go ahead and say yes. Somewhere nearby is a colossal cave where others have found fortune in treasure and gold, though it is rumored that some who enter are never seen again. Magic is said to work in the cave. I will be your eyes and hands. Direct me with commands of 1 or 2 words. I should warn you that I look at only the first 4 letters of each word, so you'll have to enter northeast, as in E, to distinguish it from north. Should you get stuck, type help for some general hints. For information on how to end your adventure, etc., type info. This is a complete version of the original PDP-10 Adventure, written for the TRS-80 by Softwin Company. Please address all inquiries directly to your dealer. You are standing at the end of a road before a small brick building. Around you is a forest. A small stream flows out of the building and down a gully. Now, before I actually begin, I need to tell you that I have taken the time to go through and map this all out and put together the path that I am planning to take. This is a very important thing to do with this game because one of the items that you are going to receive with me is a lamp, and the lamp has a limited amount of time that it can work. You're also going to notice that there are sections of the game that we are not going to explore together. That's because I consider them unnecessary. For example, there is a maze in which rests a vending machine, and in the vending machine is an extra set of batteries for the lamp. But in order to get the extra set of batteries, you have to surrender a treasure, and therefore you could not actually complete the game. I consider that a non-starter. So we are going to skip that maze altogether. However, there is another maze that we'll be going through. Now, the first thing that we need to do together is go into the building. You could type in, you could type building, there's a lot of things. Now, you're inside a building, a well house for a large spring. There are some keys on the ground here. There is a shiny brass lamp nearby. There is food here. There is a bottle of water here. So we're going to get the lamp and ignore the other things because we can only hold a small amount of items at once, and they will just get in the way. Another thing is that instead of walking around and wasting turns to get places, there's magic words that you learn by mapping the world out. So we are going to just use a magic word and teleport ourselves to the next section. It is now pitch dark. If you proceed, you will likely fall into a pit. Let's turn the lamp on. You are now in a debris room filled with stuff washed in from the surface. A low, wide passage with cobbles becomes plugged with mud and debris here, but an awkward canyon leads upward and west. A note on the wall says, magic word, Zizzy. That is where I got the word. A 3-foot black rod with a rusty star on the end lies nearby. We do not wish to use the rod at this time, so we are going to ignore it, and we are going to go east. You are crawling over cobbles in a low passage. There is a dim light at the east end of the passage. There is a small wicker cage discarded nearby. Let's get the cage. And then we want to go into a pit. At your feet is a small pit breathing traces of white mist. An east passage ends here except for a small crack leading on. Rough stone steps lead down the pit. Let's go east. You are in a splendid chamber 30 feet tall. The walls are frozen rivers of orange stone, an awkward canyon, and a good passage exit from the east and west sides of the chamber. A cheerful little bird is sitting here singing. Let's get the bird. This is what we needed the cage for. Now let's return to the pit, and then go down. You are at one end of a vast hall stretching forward out of sight to the west. There are openings to either side nearby. A wide stone staircase leads downward. The hall is filled with wisps of white mist swaying to and fro, almost as if alive. A cold wind blows up the staircase. There is a passage at the top of a dome behind you. Rough stone steps lead up the dome. Let us go south. This is a low room with a crude note on the wall. The note says, you won't get it up the steps. There is a large, sparkling nugget of gold here. Let's get the gold, and then head north. This is back to the Hall of Mists, and then head north again. You are in the Hall of the Mountain King with passages off in all directions. A huge, green, fierce snake bars the way. Let's free the bird. The little bird attacks the green snake, and in an astounding flurry drives the snake away. We no longer need the cage. And let's go south. You are in the south side chamber. There's precious jewelry here. Let's get the jewelry. Head back north. In the Hall of the Mountain King, there's a small wicker cage discarded nearby. A cheerful little bird is sitting here singing. Let's go west. You're in the west side chamber of the Hall of the Mountain King. A passage continues west and up here. There are many coins here. Now, I have been using get. Let me show you. The parser also accepts take coins. Now we are going to go east, back whence we came to the Hall of the Mountain King, where there's the cage and the bird. Head north. This is a low north-south passage at a hole in the floor. The hole goes down into an east-west passage. There are silver bars here. Get the silver, and then head north. You are in a large room with a passage to the south, a passage to the west, and a wall of broken rock to the east. There is a large Y2 on a rock in the room's center. From what I can find, Y2 is an actual survey point in the cave this is based off of. Now we are going to use another magic word, plover. You are in a small chamber lit by an eerie green light. An extremely narrow tunnel exits to the west. A dark corridor leads northeast. There is an emerald here the size of a plover's egg. We do not wish to get that yet. Northeast. You are in a dark room. A corridor leading south is the only exit. A massive stone tablet embedded in the wall reads, "Congratulations on bringing light into the dark room." There is a platinum pyramid here, 8 inches on a side. So let's get the platinum pyramid. I did not really know how to spell platinum until I started playing this game. I thought I did, but I found out I have been spelling it wrong all these years. Now we are going to go south, as that is the only exit, and that takes us back to the plover room. There is the emerald there. Now let's say plover again, because it will take us back to Y2, and a hollow voice says plug. In previous games that I have done, I have mentioned that I did not know how to pronounce this word. So I did some more research, and I found that Don supposedly put a post on Usenet many years ago where he explained he always imagined it being pronounced plug, as in plug. So I am going to go with that. And let us say we are now back inside the building. There are some keys on the ground here, some food here, and a bottle of water here. So let's drop the coins. We can just say drop jewel even though it is jewelry. Drop the platinum, the silver bars, and drop the gold. Now we want to get the bottle, get the food, and get the keys. And then return with the plug to Y2. Let us head south to the low north-south passage at hole in the floor. The hole goes down in an east-west passage. Let's go down. You're in a dirty, broken passage. To the east is a crawl. To the west is a large passage. Above you is a hole to another passage. We are just going to go to Bedquilt. It is a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. To explore at random, select north, south, up, or down. Well, I've already been here, and I know that the place I wish to go is the slab room. You are in a large, low, circular chamber whose floor is an immense slab fallen from the ceiling. Slab room. East and west there were once large passages, but they are now filled with boulders. Low, small passages go north and south, and the south one quickly bends west around the boulders. We wish to go south. You're at the west end of the two-pit room. There is a large hole in the wall above the pit at this end of the room. We wish to go down. You're at the bottom of the western pit in the two-pit room. There is a large hole in the wall about 25 feet above you. There is a tiny little plant in the pit, murmuring, "Water, water." So let's water the plant. The plant spurts into a furious growth for a few seconds. You are in the west pit. There is a 12-foot tall beanstalk stretching up out of the pit, bellowing, "Water, water." So let's go up to the west end of the two-pit room. The top of a 12-foot tall beanstalk is poking out of the west pit. Let's go west, back to the slab room, and then we want to go up. You're in a secret north-south canyon above a large room. Reservoir. You're at the edge of a large underground reservoir. An opaque cloud of white mist fills the room and rises rapidly upward. The lake is fed by a stream which tumbles out of a hole in the wall about 10 feet overhead and splashes noisily into the water somewhere within the mist. The only passage goes back toward the south. So how about we fill our bottle? Your bottle is now full of water. We're going to head back. You are now in a north-south canyon about 25 feet across. The floor is covered by a white mist seeping in from the north. The walls extend upward for well over 100 feet, suspended from some unseen point far above you. An enormous two-sided mirror is hanging parallel to the midway between the canyon wall. The mirror is obviously provided for the use of the dwarves, who, as you know, are extremely vain. A small window can be seen in either wall, some 50 feet up. Let's go south again. We're in the secret north-south canyon above a large room. Let's go down into the slab room, south to the west end of the two-pit room. The top of a 12-foot tall beanstalk is poking out of the west pit. We want to go down again. In the west pit, there is a 12-foot tall beanstalk stretching up out of the pit, bellowing, "Water! Water!" So let's water the plant again. The plant grows explosively, almost filling the bottom of the pit. You're in the west pit. There is a gigantic beanstalk stretching all the way up the hole. This next part is a little nasty because it kind of tricks you, and you need to go somewhere else first and get something before climbing the plant. So let's go up. You're at the west end of two-pit room. There is a huge beanstalk growing out of the west pit up to the hole. And we want to go east. You're at the east end of two-pit room. The floor here is littered with thin rock slabs, which make it easy to distend the pits. There is a path here bypassing the pits to connect passages from the east and west. There are holes all over, but the only big one is on the wall directly over the west pit, where you can't get to it. There is a huge beanstalk growing out of the west pit up to the hole. Now we want to go down. Here at the bottom of the eastern pit and two-pit room, there is a small pool of oil in one corner of the pit. Fill the bottle. Your bottle is now full of oil. Let's go up. We are just returning. A little dwarf just walked around the corner, saw you, and threw a little axe which missed, cursed, and ran away. You're at the east end of two-pit room. There's a little axe here. There is a huge beanstalk growing out of the west pit up to the hole. This axe is very important. We need it. This is our only defensive item. Get axe? Okay. Let's go west. You are now at the west end of two-pit room. There is a large hole in the wall above the pit at this end of the room. There is a huge beanstalk growing out of the west pit of the hole. So we want to go down. You're at the bottom of the western pit in the two-pit room. There is a large hole in the wall about 25 feet above you. There is a gigantic beanstalk stretching all the way up to the hole. So let's climb the plant. You clamber up the plant and scurry through the hole at the top. You're in a long, narrow corridor stretching out of sight to the west. At the eastern end is a hole through which you can see a profusion of leaves. So let's go west. You're in the giant room. The ceiling here is too high up for your lamp to show it. Cavernous passages lead east, north, and south. On the wall is scrawled the inscription, Fi, Fi, Fo, Fu. There is a large nest here, full of golden eggs. Let's get the eggs. Okay, head north. You are at one end of an immense north-south passage. The way north is barred by a massive rusty iron door. This is what we needed the oil for. The oil has freed up the hinges so that the door will now move, although it requires some effort. We do not need the bottle anymore. Remember, we can only carry so much at a time, and everything that we are carrying that we do not need anymore is in the way. It's not because I like littering, it's just the way the game is written. We head north. You're in a magnificent cavern with rushing stream, which cascades over a sparkling waterfall into the roaring whirlpool which disappears through a hole in the floor. Passages exit to the south and west. There is a jewel-encrusted trident here. Let's get that trident. And then go west. You're at the top of a steep incline above a large room. You could climb down here, but you would not be able to climb up. There is a passage leading back to the north. Let's go down. You're in a large, low room. Crawls lead north, southeast, and southwest. Let's go southwest. You're in a long, winding corridor sloping out of sight in both directions. Up. You are on one side of a large, deep chasm. A heavy white mist rising up from below obscures all view of the far side. A southwest path leads away from the chasm. into a widening corridor. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." A burly troll stands before the bridge and insists you throw him a treasure before you may cross. I just happen to be carrying a treasure. So let's toss the eggs. The troll catches your treasure and scurries away out of sight. Those eggs, even though they are important, they're not important beyond this point right now. Let's cross the bridge. You're on the far side of a chasm. A northeast path leads away from the chasm on this side. The troll is nowhere to be seen. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." Let's head northeast. You're in a long east-west corridor. A faint rumbling noise can be heard in the distance. Let's go to the barren room. You are standing at the entrance to a large, barren room. A sign posted above the entrance reads, "Caution, bear in room." Let's go east. You are inside a barren room. The center of the room is completely empty except for some dust. Marks in the dust lead away toward the pit in the far end of the room. The only exit is the way you came in. There is a ferocious cave bear eyeing you from the far end of the room. The bear is locked to the wall with a golden chain. So let's feed the bear. The bear eagerly wolfs down your food, after which he seems to calm down considerably and even becomes rather friendly. Open the chain. The chain is now unlocked. Let's get rid of the keys. We do not need them anymore. Take the chain and get the bear. Yes, I am carrying a bear. Let's go west from whence we came. You're being followed by a very large tame bear. You're in front of a barren room. It's another one where I can save a lot of time by just typing fork. You're being followed by a very large tame bear. The path forks here. The left fork leads northeast. A dull rumbling seems to get louder in that direction. The right fork leads southeast down a gentle slope. The main corridor enters from the west. Let's go northeast. Still being followed by a very large tame bear. The walls are quite warm here. From the north can be heard a steady roar, so loud that the entire cave seems to be trembling. Another passage leads south, and a low crawl goes east. So we are going to go east. You are being followed by a very large tame bear. You are in a very small chamber filled with large boulders. The walls are very warm, causing the air in the room to be almost stifling from the heat. The only exit is a crawl heading west, through which is coming a low rumbling. There are rare spices here. Let's get the spices. And then save some time and go back to the fork. You're being followed by a very large tame bear. You're at the fork in the path. Let's go west. You're in the corridor. Go west again. You're being followed by a very large tame bear. You're on one side of a chasm. The troll is nowhere to be seen. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." See, we are back where we were before. The troll steps out from beneath the bridge and blocks your way. You're being followed by a very large tame bear. You're on the northeast side of the chasm. A burly troll stands by the bridge and insists you throw him a treasure before you may cross. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." Now, I have already paid him, so I do not see why I need to pay him again. And luckily, this is one of the puzzles to which we are going to free the bear. The bear lumbers toward the troll, who lets out a startled shriek and scurries away. The bear soon gives up on the pursuit and wanders back. Now we are going to cross, and we are on the southwest side of the chasm. The troll is nowhere to be seen. A rickety wooden bridge extends across the chasm, vanishing into the mist. A sign posted on the bridge reads, "Stop, pay troll." I'm going to go southwest again. We're in the sloping corridor. Go down. Large low room. Crawls lead north, southeast, and southwest. We're going to go back to Bedquilt. going to take a moment here and read to you something from Wikipedia. Colossal Cavern is a cave in Kentucky, United States, the main entrance of which is at the foot of a steep hill beyond Eaton Valley and 1.5 miles from Mammoth Cave. It is connected with what has long been known as the Bedquilt Cave. Scroll down a little, and I read, "The Bedquilt section of the caves was the inspiration and setting for the first text-adventure computer game created by Will Crowther, a caver who spent many hours helping to survey the cave, and appropriately called Colossal Cave or Advent, the computer game that was expanded by Don Woods and is now known as Adventure." Just a little bit of quick history there. Now let's head east. Here at a complex junction, a low hands and knees passage from the north joins a higher crawl from the east to make walking passage going west. There is also a large room above. The air is damp here. North. There is a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. You are in a large room carved out of sedimentary rock. The floor and walls are littered with bits of shells embedded in the stone. A shallow passage proceeds downward, and a somewhat steeper stone leads up. A low hands and knees passage enters from the south. There is an enormous clam here, with its shell tightly closed. Remember I mentioned the axe being our only defense? Let us take care of the dwarf. You attack a little dwarf, but he dodges out of the way. There is a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. One sharp, nasty knife is thrown at you. It misses. You are in a shell room. There's a little axe here. There's an enormous clam here with its shell tightly closed. Let's try that again. You attack a little dwarf, but he dodges out of the way. There is a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. One sharp, nasty knife is thrown at you. It gets you. Oh dear, you seem to have gotten yourself killed. I might be able to help you out, but I've never really done this before. Do you want me to try and reincarnate you? Now what I am going to do is go back and redo everything up until this point and pick it up from the cut, which I hope you do not mind, but I think it's really great that you got a chance to see one of the dangers and how you can actually get yourself killed in this game. Anyway, I will be back in a little while. We will pick it back up at the shell room. And here we are back in the shell room. In a large room carved out of sedimentary rock, the floor and walls are littered with bits of shells embedded in the stone. A shallow passage proceeds downward, and a somewhat steeper one leads up. A low hands and knees passage enters from the south. There is an enormous clam here, with its shell tightly closed. So we want to open the clam. A glistening pearl falls out of the clam and rolls away. Goodness, this must really be an oyster. I never was very good at identifying bivalves. Whatever it is now snapped shut again. Let's go down. In a long, sloping corridor with ragged, sharp walls. Down again. You're in a cul-de-sac about 8 feet across. Off to one side lies a glistening pearl. So let's get the pearl. And then head back which way we came, which is up through the long, sloping corridor. And up again, and we are back in the shell room with an enormous oyster with its shell tightly closed. Notice they changed it from clam to oyster now. Let's go south. You're at a complex junction. Let's go up. You're in a large room full of dusty rocks. There is a big hole in the floor. There are cracks everywhere and a passage leading east. And then we go east. You're in a dirty passage. Up. You're in a low north-south passage and a hole in the floor. The hole goes down into an east-west passage. Let's go north. There is a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. You're at Y2. A hollow voice says, "Plue." Let's try and get him this time. You killed a little dwarf. The body vanishes in a cloud of greasy black smoke. That is the way it is supposed to happen. You're in a large room with a passage to the south, a passage to the west, and a wall of broken rock to the east. There is a large Y2 on the rock in the room's center. A hollow voice says, "Plug." There is a little axe here. Keep that axe. It can be useful. Go plug. You're inside a large building. There's a large sparkling nugget of gold here. Bars of silver here, precious jewelry, many coins, and a platinum pyramid. So we want to drop items. Let's drop the spice. Drop the trident. Drop the pearl. And drop the chain. And then plug back to Y2. Let's go south. Here in a low north-south passage and hole in the floor. The hole goes down to an east-west passage. Let's go down in a dirty passage and back to Bedquilt. You are in Bedquilt, a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. To explore at random, select north, south, up, or down. Let's go west. There's a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. One sharp, nasty knife is thrown at you. It misses. You're in a room whose walls resemble Swiss cheese. Obvious passages go west, east, northeast, and northwest. Part of the room is occupied by a large bedrock block. Let's toss the axe again and hope we kill him. Though, honestly, why can I not just hack him? You killed a little dwarf. You're in a Swiss cheese room. There is a little axe here. Let's get that axe again. And then let's go from here to the oriental room. This is the oriental room. Ancient oriental cave drawings cover the walls. A gently sloping passage leads upward to the north. Another passage leads southeast, and a hands and knees crawl leads west. There is a delicate, precious Ming vase here. We do not touch that vase right now. I will explain later. In the meantime, let's go north. You are following a wide path around the outer edge of a large cavern. Far below, through heavy white mist, strange splashing noises can be heard. The mist rises up through a fissure in the ceiling. The path exits to the south and the west. Let's go to the west. You are in an alcove. A small northwest path seems to widen after a short distance. An extremely tight tunnel leads east. It looks like a very tight squeeze. An eerie light can be seen at the other end. Now here, we're going to drop the lamp. I am going to explain that we do not want to turn the lamp off because when we come back, we need the light. If we turn the lamp off, we will not see the light. We will not be able to see the lamp. Let's drop the axe. Head east. Did I forget to drop something? I forgot to drop the keys. I am sorry. Keys are now dropped. This was from my returning back to the shell room. Now let's try going east again. You're in the plover room. There is an emerald here the size of a plover's egg. Let's get the emerald now. Go back west. In the alcove, we need the axe and we need the lamp. From here, we go northwest into the misty cavern, south, back into the oriental room, and there is still the vase, and we want to get the vase now. See, when we went to go to the plover room to get the emerald, we would have had to have dropped the vase, and that is not going to work out very well. The vase will fall and shatter, and definitely a bad thing. You lose a treasure that way. We continue southeast into the Swiss cheese room, and then go east into the soft room. The walls are covered with heavy curtains, the floor with a thick pile carpet. Moss covers the ceiling. There seems to be a faint noise coming from behind the curtains of the north wall. A small velvet pillow lies on the floor. Let's get that pillow. And then head west again, back to the Swiss cheese room. West to the east end of Two Pit Room. There's a huge beanstalk growing out of the west pit up to the hole. Let's go to the west end of Two Pit Room. There's still the beanstalk. Let's go down into West Pit. There's a gigantic beanstalk stretching all the way up to the hole. Let's climb the plant again. You clamber up the plant and scurry through the hole at the top. You're in a narrow corridor. Let's go west into the giant room. And do you remember the magic words? Fee, fi, fo, foo. There is a large nest here full of golden eggs. I wonder if these are new eggs, or did we teleport the eggs back from the troll? If we teleported them back from the troll, I do not feel bad about it because the troll really did not earn them, and I did. Now let's go south, and we're in the narrow corridor. Head down again into the west pit. There's the gigantic beanstalk stretching all the way to the hole. Head up again, but this is a different up, because we are not climbing the beanstalk, and we are at the west end of 2-pit room. The huge beanstalk is still there, and then we're going to go west again, which should put us in the slab room. Let's go up to the secret north-south canyon above a large room, and go south. You're in a secret canyon which exits to the north and east. A huge, green, fierce dragon bars the way. The dragon is sprawled out on a Persian rug. Now we need that Persian rug. It is one of the treasures, and without all the treasures, we're not completing the game. So, we are not going to attempt to toss anything at the dragon. Instead, what we are going to do is kill the dragon. With what? Your bare hands? Why not? Yes. Congratulations. You have just vanquished a dragon with your bare hands. Unbelievable, isn't it? You're in a secret canyon which exits to the north and east. There is a Persian rug spread out on the floor. The body of a huge green dragon is lying off to one side. Let's get the rug. Let's go from here, go east, in a secret canyon which runs east and west. It crosses over a very tight canyon 15 feet below. If you go down, you may not be able to get back up. Let's go east again, in the Hall of the Mountain King. There's a small wicker cage discarded nearby, and a cheerful little bird is sitting here, singing. Let's go north. You're in a low north-south passage at hole in the floor. The hole goes down to an east-west passage. And go north again, and we are at Y2. Let us go plug again. You're inside the building. Look at this list of treasures. It's a golden chain, a glistening pearl, a jewel-encrusted trident, rare spices, a large sparkling nugget of gold, bars of silver, precious jewelry, mini coins, and a platinum pyramid. Now we are going to drop the rug, and then we are going to drop the pillow. Very important, drop the pillow first. I did not do that in the first time back here after finding the vase, and I ended up dropping the vase, and it shattered. The vase is now resting delicately on the velvet pillow. Let's drop the eggs, and drop the emerald. Let's go ahead and zizzy our way back to the debris room. A 3-foot black rod with a rusty star on an end lies nearby. So let's get the rod and then go to the pit. You're at top of small pit. Rough stone steps lead down into the pit. Let's go down. There's a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. You're at the Hall of Mists. Rough stone steps lead up the dome. So let's toss the axe. You attack a little dwarf, but he dodges out of the way. There's a threatening little dwarf in the room with you. One sharp, nasty knife is thrown at you. It misses. You're in the Hall of Mists. There's a little axe here. Rough stone steps lead up the dome. Let's get the axe. Toss the axe again. killed the little dwarf. You're at one end of a vast hall stretching forward out of sight to the west. There are openings to either side. Nearby, a wide stone staircase leads downward. The hall is filled with wisps of white mist swaying to and fro, almost as if alive. A cold wind blows up the staircase. There is a passage at the top of a dome behind you. There's a little axe here. Rough stone steps lead up the dome. So let's get the axe. Go west. You're at the east end of a bank of a fissure slicing clear across the hall. The mist is quite thick here, and the fissure is too wide to jump. So wave the rod. A crystal bridge now spans the fissure. Let's go west. You're on the west side of a fissure in the wall of mists. There are diamonds here. A crystal bridge now spans the fissure. Let's get the diamonds. And then go west again. You're at the west end of the Hall of Mists. A low, wide crawl continues west and another goes north. To the south is a little passage 6 feet off the floor. Now we are going to be going into a maze. And there's something that needs to happen, and it does not always happen. So on the off chance that I need to go back and redo something here for you, I'm going to illustrate how save works. It is literally that easy. So let's go south, and we are in a maze of twisty little passages all alike. Go east, and then south, and then south, and then south, and then go north, and then east. This is what we wanted to happen. Out of the shadows behind you pounces a bearded pirate. "Har, har," he chortles. "I'll just take all this booty and hide it away with me chest deep in the maze." He snatches your treasure and vanishes into the gloom. You're on the brink of a 30-foot pit with a massive orange column down one wall. You could climb down here, but you could not get back up. The maze continues at this level. If we had not encountered the pirate, we would have to redo this section until we did encounter him, because without him, there is no top score. So we are going to go north again. And then we are going to go east. And then we are going to go northwest. Dead end. There are diamonds here. The pirate's treasure chest is here. The key to this maze is getting the pirate's treasure chest, and it only happens if you are jumped by the pirate. So let's get the diamonds, and then get the chest. Go southeast, and then north. We are at the brink of a pit. Go down into the bird chamber, to the debris room, and then we want to zizzy again. Lot of treasure there, yes? So let's drop the rod, drop the chest, drop the diamonds. Let's check our inventory. Brass lantern and a dwarf's axe. And check our score. If you were to quit now, you would score 275 out of a possible 350. Do you wish to quit now? No. So let's plug again. Threatening little dwarf in the room with us. One sharp, nasty knife is thrown at us. It misses. Toss the axe. Killed the dwarf. In a large room with a passage south, a passage to the west, and a wall of broken walk to the east. There's a large Y2 on a rock in the room's center. There's a little axe here. So let's get the axe. From here, we need to go south to a low north-south passage with a hole in the floor. The hole goes down to an east-west passage. Go down to a dirty passage, back to Bedquilt. In Bedquilt, a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. To explore at random, select north, south, up, or down. Let's go east at the complex junction. And then we want to go east again. You're in an anteroom leading to a large passage to the east. Small passages go west and up. The remnants of recent digging are evident. A sign in midair here says, "Cave under construction beyond this point. Proceed at your own risk. Witt Construction Company." There are a few recent issues of the LWPI magazine here. Let's get the magazines, and then go east. You are at Witt's End. Passages lead off in all directions. So let's drop the magazines. And then what we need to do is we need to get out of here. But this is a set of rooms that tends to repeat itself. You've crawled around some little holes and wound up back in the main passage. You are at Witt's End. There are a few recent issues of the LWPI magazine here. And we are in the anteroom, where we go west, which takes us back to Bedquilt, a long east-west passage with holes everywhere. To explore at random, select north, south, up, or down. We want to go east to the complex junction, up to the dusty rock room, east again, to the dirty passage. To the east is a crawl, to the west is a large passage, above you is a hole to another passage. Go up again to a low north-south passage. At hole in the floor, the hole goes down to an east-west passage, and then go north again, and we are at Y2. Say plover again, and we are in the plover room. Now we are going to turn our lamp off, which it does not matter because we are in a room that is lit by an eerie green light, so we can see. And now we need to just waste time. As you can see, we have no treasures in our hand. Unfortunately, we cannot just wait. So we are going to drop our axe, and then get axe, and drop axe, and get axe, and drop axe, and get axe. A sepulchral voice reverberating through the cave says, "Cave closing soon. All adventurers exit immediately through the main office." And we need to continue wasting time. So we're going to drop the axe, and we're going to get the axe. I could have continued wandering around, and the chances are my lamp would have run out before the event we are waiting for would happen, and we would die. And we do not wish that, so we're just going to continue standing here, dropping the axe, and getting the axe, and dropping the axe, because each of these takes a turn. The sepulchral voice intones, "The cave is now closed." As the echoes fade, there is a blinding flash of light and a small puff of orange smoke. As your eyes refocus, you look around and find you are at the northeast end of an immense room, even larger than the giant room. It appears to be a repository for the adventure program. Massive torches far overhead bathe the room with a smoky yellow light. Scattered about you can be seen a pile of bottles, all of them empty. A nursery of young beanstalks murmuring quietly, a bed of oysters, a bundle of black rods with rusty stars on their ends, and a collection of brass lanterns. Off to one side, a great many dwarves are sleeping on the floor, snoring loudly. A sign nearby reads, "Do not disturb the dwarves." An immense mirror is hanging against one wall, and stretches to the other end of the room, where various other sundry objects can be glimpsed dimly in the distance. Let's go southwest. Here at the southwest end of the repository, to one side is a pit full of fierce green snakes. On the other side is a row of small wicker cages, each of which contains a little sulking bird. In one corner is a bundle of black rods with rusty marks on their ends. A large number of velvet pillows are scattered about the floor. A vast mirror stretches off to the northeast. At your feet is a large steel grate, next to which a sign reads, "Treasure Vault. Keys in main office." The grate is locked. So let's get a rod, go back from whence we came, Drop the rod. Go southwest again. And the final magic word we need to know. Blast. There is a loud explosion, and a 20-foot hole appears in the far wall, burying the dwarves in the rubble. You march through the hole and find yourself in the main office, where a cheering band of friendly elves carry the conquering adventurer off into the sunset. You scored 350 out of a possible 350, using 303 turns. All of adventuredom gives tribute, Adventurer Grandmaster. To achieve the next higher rating, you need 9,650 more points. I'm not sure how you can get that many points, but I do know that I just got 350 out of 350 with your help. And as you know, I really enjoy doing these. What we have just experienced together is the most accurate representation of the original Advent, also known as Adventure or Colossal Cave Adventure, in the best surviving form. There are other forms that exist that are expanded into more points, 450, 500, 550, 800. There's even one that has 1,000. But what I really wanted us to do together was the original, or as close to the original as we could get. And as said before, at the beginning, unfortunately, it was a Microsoft product that stole from the original creators. Now, we did this on a TRS 80 Model 1 with Level 2 Basic, though we used a floppy drive, so it kind of bypassed all of that. Anyway, thank you for joining me. I quite enjoyed it. As you know, I still have a request for Pyramid 2000 and Zork. I may be looking at the Scott Adams Adventures. I may be looking at something else. Not certain yet, but I definitely look forward to our next project together. Thank you very much. Feel free to share these with other people you may or may not know. Feel free to subscribe, and please have a wonderful day. Thank you.